Hi, welcome to the first episode of Gear Review here on Valley Swerve Television. Here we're going to be talking about all the new gear we decided to add on to our very long arsenal of weaponry by showing you an unboxing and then kind of like a demo testing of what exactly we want to show you guys. Want to be pretty transparent about our tech and as well as our opinions about it, whether we recommend it, whether it sucks. But to be honest, I'm pretty positive all around with the first thing that we want to show you today, and it's definitely very, very relatable. In fact, I feel that every creative person, no matter if you're doing music, video, or if you're just working with a ton of data and huge files, what's the first thing everyone always tells you? Back up your data. And what did this guy do? He didn't back it up. And then even worse, I committed a much bigger crime. I was pretty much working off this guy. Yep. External hard drive. You should never do that. Never work on one of these. Why? Well, quite obvious. If internal hard drives already been known to fail, and then this is supposed to be treated as a backup of that, as a secondary, tertiary recovery. Why would you want to work off this directly? And why I decided to do it? Well, because I didn't have enough space on my internal hard drive. I actually had 1 tera, and I always told myself, when I built this computer about 3 years ago, I was like, yeah, it's not a big deal. I definitely I'll upgrade eventually, I added a second drive or whatever, and I just never did it. And then it got to the point where I got bottlenecked, and clearly I didn't have enough storage, and I'm like, I really got to finish this this mixtape or this beat tape I was working on for Halloween, and I did finish it, and literally hours later, as soon as I exported all 10 tracks, boom, just completely gone, just crashed. Now I was just like, why didn't I just do it? Why didn't I just actually just decide to back it up? And I never did. And then I was like, you know what, working off external hard drive got a lot of pros, right? You don't got to clog up your computer at all, and it just gets to be saved externally. And guess what, what if I want to work remotely, or I decided to just move my workspace on a different computer, or I want to take it on my laptop, take my laptop to the coffee shop and make some beats there. Also, I do quite a few beat videos outside of my room, so might as well just already have all the projects on here. But clearly that was all a bad call, and I was just panicking. And some people who've already followed this channel before I even made this YouTube channel, really, they saw from my Instagram story, Oni-ism, of course, is the album I'm talking about, which is available Spotify still, and I was able to get it back. How I got that back? Well, I decided to call IT Recovery Center, and unfortunately all the recovery centers exist, or mostly there's just 2 of them really that compete against each other, just Flashback, and I decided to go with IT Recover Tech. I might be quoting the name wrong, but I'll definitely drop in the description of this video exactly their name. But yeah, they're all in Austin, and I was just like, well, I guess I could just ship this, and I was kind of concerned because, I had the one master external hard drive that crashed. Luckily, the gentlemen there were pretty fast, very professional, very, concerned, catering to, obviously, the situation, because I lost pretty much, not even just that one album. I lost, all of my life's work, because it wasn't just the beat tape for Halloween that I was on there. It was literally everything I was working off. I didn't have a secondary, not even a Dropbox or any kind of way to back it up. I was just not big into cloud data backup. I didn't want to pay necessarily I don't want to pay another service just to back up data and have to spend more for bandwidth. And clearly, I didn't research that enough, because I kind of just assumed, well, you get the free 15 gigs with Google Drive, and I think you get 5 gigs with Dropbox, and I'm not even sure how much you get with media. You're not really even supposed to use that necessarily, backup stuff and then use it routinely. That's just more like you're, just putting zip files there for whatever reason. Anyhow, so I committed my second crime, or I guess third crime at that point, just not researching before I decided to be like, yeah, I guess I'll just buy another external hard drive and then just mirror that back, because that's exactly what they're gonna have to do anyway at the data recovery center. And by the way, I spent about $800 on actually no, correction, I spent $850 in total just to recover my amount. And granted, whenever you do one of these backup processes, depending how awful the circumstance could be, I mean, like if it's really scratched up or what have you that happened to the hardware, that would definitely increase the price range of what you're going to have to pay just to get back also how much data is actually stored on that particular drive. So once I got back my external, which is obviously this is the second copy of literally the same thing, I was like, okay, you know what, I absolutely need to do my research and go through what's a good option to back up. And I didn't want to do external hard drives because it's not necessarily the most efficient for my kind of work, where I am constantly creating new visual and audio media that takes up quite a bit, and I'm gonna have to be worried about when I'm gonna back this up, or if it's secure enough. So first things first is you obviously have to have multiple backups. That's just the thing. So why I decided to keep this, of course, this is like I said, another backup that I had. But what I decided to do as my primary is I went along and I decided to purchase a NAS, which is an acronym for Network Attachment Storage. And the one model I went with was by Synology, the DiskStation. I had read quite a few reviews about the Synology's DiskStation. First of all, I wasn't even sure what the heck a NAS was, and then kind of figuring out, it's pretty much a mini server that a lot of small business enterprises use. So not a lot of personal people use it. It's kind of a niche thing. Now, I'm obviously very new to using the NAS. As I said, this is just an unboxing gear review video, so I'm going to be documenting my experiences with it as I go along. But I know there's a lot of self-employed creatives out there who probably are not very keen about it, as I was, and they probably just back up their stuff on an external hard drive just like I used to. So I really wanted to talk about that in this video, and then talk about my experiences with it briefly, as I'll probably constantly make some updates just to go along with this theme, of course. And as I couldn't really find a lot of videos about it, or even really articles about it, I was like, alright, okay. So essentially what you do is, a NAS is just, as I mentioned, a small server, right? It's connected to your Ethernet. You could set to what particular time you would want to back up or image your computer. So there's always constantly an image being reallocated and recopied. I said it once every day throughout the weekdays, of course, not the weekends. And obviously once the initial image is replicated, it's just going to make adjustments to what's different from the image. So there's that misconception with if I have to create this whole image, it's gonna have to do it all the way from scratch, and that's gonna take like 5 hours, and if I set that every day, then I'm never gonna get to work. Well, no, obviously not. Clearly the image is gonna have its the master copy, and just editing along the way. And then you could partition a different space within the NAS, of course, the hard drives that you're going to put inside the expansion bays, and can make that as a recovery backup to the already backup. So it definitely is a lot of layers of self-check, backing up, making sure that you have different copies, of course, of the same thing, because like I said earlier in the video, you don't want to lose any data, so the more copies the merrier. Boom. And being connected to the Ethernet as a server, servers never turn off, right? Mostly if you're gonna be clearly using them any time of the day. I mean, if you're running a website, you're not gonna turn that off either. So you could turn it off. I mean, you could even schedule when you want to turn the NAS off. I have it running all the time, because why not? I mean, I obviously have two members of the Valley Swerve team. One of them is our brand manager who is working off remotely, and so I want him to have access to the media files whenever he can, since our schedules are pretty offset. So obviously that's another benefit of having the NAS. Is like you're definitely treating your work process as a business, as it should be, since you're most likely a self-employed freelance creative. And with that in mind, of course, that's besides how I forgot to mention how small the form factor is. I'll cue the clip right now of the unboxing so you can see in scale roughly to me myself moving the NAS around and installing the external hard drive. So let me use this point to segment to that, as our editor team will definitely take care of that, and I'll see you afterwards. Alright, so here we are opening up our shipment from Newegg. Inside this packaging contains both the Synology DiskStation and 2 hard disk drives that we ordered along with it. Opening up the flaps here, you can see the 2 drives packaged individually. And setting them aside, you can see our very anticipated DS720 Plus. Now, I was surprised how small the DiskStation actually is, considering that it can hold 2 hard disk drives in each bay. I expected this to take a lot more shelf space on the table, but I'm a fan of small form factor, as I personally build my own computer into a mini ITX build. So really this is a bonus for everyone else who's also a fan of small form factor. People who think that NAS or other backup storage units taking up a huge amount of space on your desk area would be more than happy to know that the size ratio of this compared to those drives in the frame is actually quite small. Now, forgive us, as this is our first unboxing video, and I thought that this was in center frame of the camera shot, but there I was trying to show off the 2 front doors along with the back fan and the build, of course. The accessories that come inside the Synology is, of course, the AC adapter, a set of microfills for extras, and of course 2 Ethernet cables that we hope for you to plug into your modem and access the drive remotely through, of course, internet connection and LAN accessibility. Here I'll be opening up the first drive, as I expected this to be the Iron Wolf by Seagate. Now, the Iron Wolf is a go-to for anyone building a NAS, as this is designed specifically for that. 4 terabyte, because I think that's a decent amount of space to go along with all the backups that we'll be enduring and anticipating. I do want to add that the Iron Wolf does come with a 3-year protection plan. So for whatever reason you experience drive failure and you're scared that you're going to lose all your data, as long as within the time period that you purchased the Iron Wolf, Seagate, of course, will try to recover as much data as possible that's accessible on the drive. And knowing my personal experience, as I mentioned earlier in this video, I wish I still had that. So definitely a bonus. Here I'm just kind of showing off more of the design, the aesthetic of the build itself. Pretty lightweight. On the front, I forgot to mention that there is a USB 3.0 so that you can attach a separate storage, which you can, of course, mirror copy whatever's internally inside the NAS, as well as front-end access without having to access your OS opening portal on the computer in which you're usually opening the NAS in, or usually opening the Synology within. Hey guys, I just want to clarify real quick. So in the last shot, I was mistaken. This is a WD 4 terabyte Blue Label. This is actually going to replace the internal hard drive that's already inside my computer. The reason being is because we're going to swap that 1 terabyte hard drive into the second bay of the Synology NAS, just so that I could have more storage for more songs, projects, videos, and other forms of media. And just to clarify, this is the Iron Wolf
Pro with 4 terabytes, which includes a 5-year warranty and a 3-year data recovery plan. Just in case something happens to this drive, I won't lose all my projects, media, various files of other stuff I've been working on. Definitely highly recommended, of course. Don't mind me here, just struggling a little bit to open this with my telescope razor blade. And voila. Pretty pristine. All right. On top of the non-static plastic, of course. So in case you haven't seen one of these before, it's rather simple. All you have to do is pop open one of the tops right here, and boom, a nice sound, and you just slide the bay out. Carefully, we'll just put this to the side. So right here on the side, there's these 2 little pull tabs. Make sure not to pull them too hard, as there's a couple of pressure releases on each of these 2 runners. Once you're able to pull from the first runner, from the first set, you'll be able to pull out the second and see where it lines up. And we put that to the side right there. Now, we'll go ahead and put the iron wolf right in the slot right there, so it all lines up in the 4 slots. Perfect. So with all 4 runners, we get 1 tab at a time. Gets a little bit tricky for me here. There you go, nice and tight. And on the second side, the same deal. Perfect. And once we have that done, just go back to the Synology and slide in right in that bay. Slide that in, and there you go. Done.
Alright, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that unboxing segment. Now, what I forgot to mention was the NAS bottleneck truly depends on your internet provider and your bandwidth. So essentially what I'm saying is that since it's connected to your Ethernet or modem at all time, depending how fast your internet is what's going to determine how fast it'll be accessed remotely. So for me, since I'm just kind of using it and just putting stuff from my internal drive and copying it over, it's pretty seamless. I mean, it's just going to act like as fast as any local SATA, but anyone on the team per se that you're adding credentials on through the user interface, just like anything else you're going to be working off a server from any other location, is going to depend on the initial host providing a bandwidth. So if you're having someone from really far away, even in a different country, you have to compensate for what the upload and download is going to be. And as I should have mentioned, thinking about the NAS and why you may or may not want to add it to your office space is going to be purely based off what your already routine infrastructure is. So this is with the mindset that you're pretty satisfied with how fast your personal internet is and how well tailored your workflow is to input like this little mini server attachment or network attachment, sorry. So if you're comparatively, if you're just going to be simply copying stuff and just having it backed up on a local external hard drive and maybe even have like some cloud features, it's not necessarily something you're working off all the time, because that would be defeating the purpose of a small personal external hard drive. So another reason why we're going with the NAS is because, yeah, we're definitely entering, as Valley Swerve as it is a small business entry-level enterprise here. And even without that idea, as a solo creative who could be a freelancer, could be embarking on their own type of media upcoming conglomeracy, you definitely want to consider that, hey, this is a long-term investment. Like, I don't want to be working off some small little Toshiba 4 terabyter, I want to eventually add collaborators, and as a creative, you constantly look for collaborators to be with you. So adding on them as members through credentials through the user interface, of course, you can even restrict to like certain feature or abilities of writing and overwriting different file specifics inside your storage, of course. And that's actually a good segment to talk about how the DeskStation is one of the few that we could find on the marketplace that actually has like a design built out UI. So it runs on Linux, Ubuntu, and all that is pretty well template, kind of like an Android tablet OS, you know, where you would just be able to log in and just see where all the files and icons and this little desktop, which you can you know, access the file points and go into the different file storage locations, just like you would on your normal computer or Mac. Because if not, then the alternative would be simply command lining, and I'm not a coder. I'm pretty sure most of you are not coders, and sorry, just checking, making sure that we're recording. We're doing this take like so many times at this point. It's definitely a lot easier to see this in a very elegant UI, and at that point alone, like, if that doesn't sell you on it, I don't know what will, because, well, maybe if you have crappy internet, sure. But besides that, you definitely should be getting good internet at some point if you're going to be doing this as a full-time profession. So really, I guess, is the NAS is going to be up to, are you doing your creative stuff as a hobby simply, or are you going for more career orientation like we are? And I would say that covers pretty much all the points. Now, I've been using this NAS for about 3 months. I definitely should have released this video a lot earlier, but I want to just clarify that I'm going to be doing updates along with this, so this is kind of in itself a mini series experiment of my experience, well, my satisfaction with the NAS. And although it's been pretty positive, the only time I've ever had an issue, to be honest, was there was instances where it would be stopped working, I guess. It would be inaccessible, and that's because in those particular instances our modem gave out, and I guess that may have triggered something to stop relaying the communication between my computer and the workstation itself. So all I simply did was just YouTube, how do I reset my NAS? And it's as simple as you just hold on the on button for 6 seconds, wait for the beep, and then do it again a second time, and you wait for the beep. You know, the whole on and off IT guy explanation. So as far as that's the only complication I've had. I've tried to go into many features as possible, but really it's pretty simple for the setup that we had. There's only maybe 3 other people accessed onto the NAS, of course, and they're all logging in through the Quick Connect URL, which Synology shorthands for you, which is convenient because it doesn't rely on the same static IP for you to constantly having to memorize, and also the IP isn't static anyway, so if you did that, then you might not even connect, and so just using the simple URL is the best thing to do. Quite honestly, Synology has like perfected this streamlined process for literally anyone who cannot code but definitely wants a server access, or a small mini server access, hence what NASs are to begin with. And there might be some technological elitists who come around here and be like, no, that's not what it is. But you know what, man, I make music for a living, and I guess these YouTube videos, if I get better at them, so what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to know any better? But that definitely concludes this first video on gear review, and I appreciate everyone who's actually watched all the way up to this point. I will continue to do more videos of more gear that we're adding onto our arsenal, as I said. More unboxing and more honest opinions that you truly deserve. Helps you make those purchase decisions, and would mean the world to me if you like, subscribe if you haven't, add this to your playlist, share this with your friends, as well as the little bell somewhere around here. I actually don't even know the orientation because I'm definitely doing mirror mode somewhere here. So thanks again for watching this first episode, and from all of us at Valley Swerve, we love you all. Thank you so much for supporting our dream. We couldn't do none of this without you. And of course, every Friday, new music. Always dropping, never stopping. Peace.